New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Well, hi there. We're Rockin the Love here on the New Thought Media Network. I don't know where Robyn and Gil went. They just disappeared. So hi there. We do have a great show for you here. We have the good news coming up here in just a few moments. And also we have a great topic today. We will be talking about the energetic field of love during this kind of last few days here in February. Again, good to see everyone here. We must be having challenges at our New Mexico studios. So, so I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play a couple of commercials here and then work with Robyn and Gil to get hooked back up again from the secret location that they have in New Mexico. So again, you're watching Rockin the Love here on your New Thought Media Network.
Let's do something fun. Let's go on vacation. Let's take some time off just to do something fun with none of the usual to-do list that we have to deal with from day to day. And let's do it right now. And it'll only take a few seconds. Take a deep breath. Let it out. Take a break. Give yourself the gift of a moment. Allow yourself to stop doing and simply be. Because you are a bright light of love, and for you, being is more than enough. And now, from the New Mexico Animal Shelter, great place, it's now Rockin the Love with Robyn and Gil here on the New Thought Media Network. And now, here is Reverend Gil and Robyn.
All righty. What an introduction. Thank you
guys
so
scared
much.
me. What happened?
Well, we're glad to be here. We had a little computer thing that just turned off, and we had to figure out what was happening.
All right. Well, you guys do your thing.
We're back. So, everybody, thanks for joining us here on Rockin the Love.
Yes, I'm Robyn.
And I'm Gil.
and I am in the witness protection programs. I am rocking an eye infection, so I just didn't want to share it with the world. But it may appear because sometimes I can't see out of these. So anyway, we are Rockin the Love, and we are here to do that today. Our topic today is the energetic field of love.
Why are we talking about that now? You know?
Because the world needs love.
The world needs now. Yes. And because it's the month of love, and that's kind of our thing this month. And so we're thinking about expanding the idea of love out. We've talked a little bit about how we miss out on love in ourselves and how it's important to love other people, and we're kind of spreading it out a bit. So we're excited to see what comes of it and hope that you are too. And we're looking forward to this time with you today.
Yes. So it's time to talk about our week. It's such a weird week in the world. Like, places are hot, other places are pouring down rain and freezing with ice, and it's kind of a crazy thing. It's normal-ish here, but that's abnormal for this time of year. Right?
Yeah, the temperature actually rose a bit, and then now the last as of yesterday and today, we've got some pretty good wind, which is not unusual for Albuquerque. However, it's cold, that wind, when it blows. Even with the sun out.
But it's so dusty, like you can't see anything, and like except the big, what do you call it, tumbleweeds. Like in front of your car, and you're trying to like dodge them so they don't get stuck in your thing, and it's a very different experience than California. That's
certainly California by the coast. Yes.
Anyway, but it's all good. That is my computer having a spaz attack, because that's just the way today seems to be.
So we invite you to do what we always invite you to do, and that's, like us, check in with our various platforms, say hello. On the show today, please comment that you're here, ask a question, make a suggestion, offer a thought. That always makes it more interesting.
Yes. And those of you that don't like to comment, we know you're out there. So welcome to you too. And you know who you are. My favorite couple in the world, Alvin and Louise. And then there's a few of you others that sneak in and say hello. So hello and bienvenidos to everybody. So tell me.
What happened this week?
Yeah,
what's going on? It's been a good week. It's felt rather balanced while at the same time being very busy and happening. And we've got to do a couple fun things together. That's been fun. We went to Costco yesterday together.
Well, that was fun. Those of you that go to Costco, sometimes Costco is a chore and you don't want to go. But other times it's like Disneyland, right? You walk around and you go, yeah, we could have that, or what if we got that, or that would be good. And it's fun, like when you have that leisurely Costco experience.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So we had a little bit of one of those yesterday. Yes, very romantic Costco. We had
we had Valentine's too.
Yeah, we did. I was going to say we had a Valentine's Day a little bit. Oh, we went out to dinner with a friend actually,
whose Valentine was out of town.
So we did lots of Valentine duty, but it was fun. It was very fun, and so anyway, so that's what the week's been like. Lots of things happening.
Yeah, it's just a busy time, as you can see. The desk that I told you Gil was building for me appears to be in the same status.
Well, no, it's added like a coat and a sweater.
It's true, but it's still in the same place.
Yes.
But maybe next week it'll be underneath the computer and you won't see it anymore. Then you'll know that makes us very, very happy.
So I'm going to just go with Shay's comment, by the grace of God. She's here by the grace of God, but I think that's very fitting for a lot of things in our lives.
Yeah, it is. It is. And thank you for acknowledging, geez, just the grace of God.
It's just the grace of God. It all is.
It is.
It all is. And I think that's part of what we're kind of going for today in terms of our talk.
Yeah. Yeah. And sending love out there to Chantal. Thank you for joining us, passing through, whatever you're doing. Good to see you. And you're on my list of people to call. So I'm really glad to see you. Thank you. So, what else? Anything?
Well, we had a great sale the last 2 weeks at the center, at the spiritual center, cleaning things out. And it's just been amazing to watch stuff go, and at the same time to see how much we actually had to put into the sale. You know, and it's been a very cathartic experience to see it move, because one, we made a little money, but two, we really released a lot, and that feels really good as we move into a new space. And this upcoming Sunday is our very last Sunday in our current location, which has been there about 12 or 13 years. So it's kind of significant.
Well, I think it's also significant because those of you out there that know Gil hasn't been there 12 or 13 years.
Well, yeah, no, I have not.
He's only been there 4, which is crazy, but 4. And now we're moving into a new space, and I think it's very symbolic because it's your space.
Yeah. Well, we've done it together. It's kind of like a second marriage, and you move into the same apartment, and then you got to find your own. Yeah, maybe that's a little over the top, but you know, that idea where you come together in something, and it's okay and it works, but it's something special about creating your own space.
I think they got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Hola.
Many people out there. Hola. Bienvenidos a Mexico. Your doula for grief, Miss Morgan Gonzalez, is with us. Wow. It's a party. So we want to share that party with you, and we want to give you some good news, because I know that is the common denominator in all of our weeks, is that there's so much news out there that is just bogging us down and things like that we take this opportunity to talk about what is good in the world and the good things that people are doing out there. So, hit us.
So, I had this thought today. I thought about angels, and I thought about how sometimes people tell the stories of how angels have shown up in particular situations in their lives, and they kind of frame it that way because it's someone they didn't know, and they may or may not remember a lot of details, but somehow in the whole process, they still don't know where that person came from or who they were.
Right.
You know? And so I saw this story of a couple police officers that were out among other people, among other officers, because they were searching for a missing 3-year-old. And they were canvassing, and they went up to a particular house and going up to the door, and this dog kind of came up and sort of growled at him a little bit and tugged at his pant leg, it seemed like, kind of, you know, and he kind of was like, wow, I guess I'm the dog guy, you know. And so, but then the dog turns around and runs out in the yard, and then, you know, starts barking like, what are you doing? I come along. And eventually takes him around to the back of the house and sits down by a car that's parked in the backyard. And the officer comes up and looks, and in the back seat is the 3-year-old.
Oh my God.
Locked in because the child locks were on, and he didn't know how to get out. And so they coached him out of the car, and everything was fine ultimately in that. And no one has really figured out where the dog came from or whose dog it was.
Wow.
And I thought, isn't that cool? You know, that you know, that real idea that spirit is everywhere. Life shows up in everything. And so this idea of there being some mystical way that people show up, why not animals as well? So how cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. I love that story. But you knew I would.
I knew you would. That's why I picked it. Mostly for you. Yeah.
Well, my story is about kindness and goodness, and I thought it really went well with the topic today because it's about a plane that was on the runway in Newfoundland, Gander, Newfoundland, and it was grounded due to the ice in the on the path. And the passengers waited on the plane for over an hour, and finally they were allowed to get off, but they were told that, you know, they'd be staying the night. And with limited taxis available, because it's a small town, the whole town, like the hotel put it on the Facebook or the website, and the whole town like showed up with cars and to take them to the hotels and offered their homes and all of that. And then in the morning, and it's the community really, they shuttled like 150 to 200 passengers. It wasn't just a small deal.
Yeah, it was a big plane in a small place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and apparently and then they were there in the morning also waiting to take them to the airport and shuttle them back. And they did the same thing during 9/11, that when planes didn't get off the runways and things, the whole town banded together, came forth, and just exhibited that kind of human kindness that we need to remember is out there in this day and age. And I just thought that was such a beautiful story, you know. And of course, our neighbors in Canada.
In Canada. Well, yes, of course.
Yes, the kindest, most generous people we know. So, yeah, I'm talking to you, Chantal. Okay, so.
Okay, so by the way, our friend Shay reminds us that dog is just God spelled backwards. So there you go.
Good point.
So, you know.
Yeah, all about the oneness. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, that's our good news. Lots of good news. Lots of good news happening, and we know you don't get to hear it all the time. So there you have it. There's a little snippet. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about the energetic field of love. And we'll let you know what that means when we get back. So join us right back here on New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you. Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk, Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time, Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown. Center for Spiritual Living Denver. Unity of Garden Park. New Thought Philadelphia. The Sunshine Cathedral. Unity of Savannah. And the Ohm Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.
Hello, welcome back to Rockin the Love. I am Robyn Rice Olmsted.
And I am Gil William Olmsted. And we are the Olmsted Rice's Olmsteds. Anyway, we're together. We're a married couple, and we like to hang out with you all because it's fun. Right?
Right.
Look at how fun she's having so much fun today.
I am having fun. And I just want to let you know, in case you missed the beginning, I am wearing sunglasses not because I'm too cool for this, but because I have a little eye infection going on. So I didn't want to share that with you. So I'm not. So there we go. So today's topic is about the energetic field of love.
Ooh.
The energetic field of love. And it's really about, showing up for each other in uncertain times. There's so much going on in the world, that we can point to that we don't like or that feels uncomfortable or that isn't an exhibition of kindness. And this is about how do we show up for each other in these times and how do we stay, connected and grounded and really living in love and not letting fear permeate our whole being. So
the energetic field of love, we hear, I think we've heard about that idea over time, and that, love is this thing out there, if you will. And there's, various thoughts about it. One is that love is like the highest vibrational energy in the universe. And so there's a lot of energies, and love is the one that's highest in terms of vibration, which means it's bringing the most positivity, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's one possible way to see it. But the other way that I think that is very interesting is that if we ascribe to the fact that all is one creation and that creation is all from the same creator, then that creator is always creating out of love. And so love is everything, in fact. So this field of love, this energetic field of love, is the energetic field in which we live, period.
yes, and right now the energetic field doesn't feel like love. It feels like tension, and it feels like a collective tension among people, and whether it's because of things that are going on, whether it's because of the current political climate, whether it's because of ICE, whether it's because of finances, whatever it is, it is a collective field of scariness and fear.
Right.
And so how do we stay in the field of love? How do we stay in the human apart? How do we stay connected and you know,
and not slip into that dualistic idea of there being multiple two fields, one being the positive and one being the negative, and how do we, it's always been an interesting piece is how that comes together. But I think really in our human experience, when we try to categorize things, there are certain things that do not feel like they belong with love, period. And they do feel outside of that, and they feel like people are treating other people in a very negative way, a very whatever. So
well, and there's a lot of talk that feels like we're living in a time of divisiveness,
right.
like people trying to separate things, and we could boil it down to separate the love,
right.
On
separate us from the love at some level.
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
what I mean.
Exactly. And I think part of that is by when we talk about something as being outside of love, then we can begin to push it outside of our thinking, and now it becomes something that we don't want and we don't want to deal with. And for me, the most important part about that is not so much the negative things, it's how I feel about the people perpetrating the negative things. That becomes the issue, because then I'd like, nope, don't want to deal with them, don't like them, don't think they should be around, kind of thing. And that's.
So I think that's one of the reasons that these good news stories and the things that we hear are so important, because really that's we're creating that energetic field of love and kindness. And even in the situation in Minneapolis where 2 people died, their final words were really about the concern of others.
Mm-hmm.
And showing that compassion. And so this is, so the energetic field of love and whatever is outside of that, which in theory is nothing, but how do we stay connected? Because it really it's like race consciousness,
mm-hmm.
right? We're creating, we create it all.
What are we holding? And I think when you said that not only did those people, were they standing in a space of love when tragedy happened to them, but they ignited an entire group of people, entire city, entire nation to act from a space of love in a different way because of that.
Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to say those people, Alex Pretty and Renee Good.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so, I don't know, some of you have heard an interview with President Obama about what happened in Minneapolis, and his description of all, actually it started, anyway, it doesn't matter. His description of all that we're seeing that is positive, that is people walking in love in that situation. Rather than looking at Alex and Renee being killed, it became about something much larger.
Mm.
Not that discounts anybody's value, but the fact is that the larger purpose of love is outpicturing in ways we have not seen it recently, that are new.
Yeah, and that's and that is the collective thing that sparks. It's like the chain reaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
It opens up the space and it gives us permission to stand in that and create that web together, so to speak.
But I think that the story, I don't know if I shared it on here or not, but about the various new detention centers that ICE has been attempting to purchase warehouses and build all across the country. And the flip side of that story is all of the people that have come forth and said, that's not okay. That's not who we are. Mm-hmm. And no, we're not going to support that. We're not going to support people that sell you the property. We're not going to support building new infrastructure in our city so that you can have enough water and electricity to make it work. We're not going to do this stuff. That's not who we are.
And I think that's that. I often wonder why. Like when everybody says, this is all happening for a reason. This is we had to learn this way, yada, 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 yada. All of that. I'm like, okay, but why? I mean, I get it. I've had enough. What is it? What more is it that we need to learn?
Have you not been married to me? Do you not get that? It does not sink in quite that quickly in our human brains.
Now you're going to make me forget what I had to say, because it was off of what you said, though, that what did you say about doing it together or something?
About how people have stepped up together to say this isn't who we are.
Yeah. And I think that we needed to remember that in a whole different way than just being able to, go, that's not who we are, and go on about our business being who we are. Because clearly, I mean, and this came up when Obama was president, but certainly not like this. Clearly, there's an underbelly of people that don't feel the same, and, now have jobs working in this venue of but there's people that are, I mean, I don't know that we really knew how bad it was. I mean, I think I did. I just didn't know it could get like this. I mean, I think I've always known or thought that there were people that went against things that I believe, like kindness and equity and things like that. But I didn't know like that really the whole system could be taken down.
Well, I think what is hard to look at is with the amount of fear. And my sense is that's what drives so much of this is fear. Fear of something being lost, fear of something not being gained. And so what we really have is, for me anyway, is this unawareness that so many people live in such painful fear. That they are so convinced that others are out to get them, and that the other people have to not get something in order for them to be able to get it. That if you let others have something, you're not gonna have what you need. And yes, I'm interested in this comment by Shay as well, what you were referring to exactly about spiritual bypassing. It certainly is something that we all have done and sometimes do in trying to pretend that everything's okay. And maybe that's what you're referring to, is we've all kind of brushed the stuff that was kind of crusty aside until there started to be big cracks that we were falling into, and then we went, oh yeah, this really is a problem and I haven't been addressing it. So I don't know.
Well, and I'm going to guess that Shay will let us know, but I think part of the spiritual bypassing is, well, I don't know. I think it shows up in people not knowing what to do sometimes, like, which isn't exactly spiritual bypassing, but can lead to spiritual bypassing. And, I don't know. I'm going to let her explain before I talk myself into a hole.
Yeah. And I would just say that spiritual bypassing, for someone who may not have an idea what we're talking about, I think it's just the idea of coming up with some spiritual platitude or thought that would allow us to sort of move beyond it and pretend it's not really there. Beyond something, whatever it is.
Right. And to just go,
And rather than face it, we kind of push it aside.
and to also be like, to live into the principles of what we say and go, oh, it's all good. It's all God, and then leave it at that, as opposed to knowing that there should be action along with that. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Shay says, oh. The battle of the thumbs. It's about saying that everything happens for a reason when people are actually in the midst of the horror of it all. You can't go from being in grief and shock and horror right to that.
No, and I don't believe, yes, I hear you. And I don't believe, what we're seeing in places like Minneapolis, St. Paul is people skipping to, oh, look, this happened for a reason and we have to step up. No, but I think it motivated people to make the move. And over time, it begins to reveal itself that out of the horror and the shock and the pain came something more positive than we would have expected. More positive than we even maybe could have created without that push. If we weren't pushed as a people by that horror, would we have gone there? Excuse me.
Yeah, I also think that it's about, Shay says exactly in time.
It did, yes.
I also think that it's about all of us on some level reclaiming power.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we've been complacent in many ways, and letting things be dictated to us and just being like, okay.
Right. Well, what can we do? It's it's an encroachment, but it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, or like, and this won't last.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it can't last. That's not how it works. Or, yeah, it wasn't okay, but it didn't. Most of us aren't affected by it. Whatever. We push it aside. And I think that's easy to do. We do it in all kinds of places in our lives. We do it in work situations where we're treated poorly by another worker or by a boss or something. And we sort of push it aside and pretend it's not that big a deal until something cracks and we go, this is really not okay.
Yeah, and I think in New Thought philosophies, we say a lot, let's just hold the space for love. Let's just hold the space for peace, for understanding, for compassion. And so I want to talk a little bit about what that means, because I think that too can fall into the spiritual bypass platitude area. So I'm holding the space for goodness and kindness. And what does that mean? What does that really mean when we say to you, go out and rock the love, everybody. Hold the space for love and peace and possibility. What does that mean?
Well, I think, it's a complicated question.
It is.
It's a complicated question because there is a level at which my thought is when we're holding the space for something, we are knowing that is the truth of what's underneath it all, regardless of what we're seeing. And in knowing that truth, we're allowing that to come forth somewhere, somehow. Okay? And so that becomes a positive force. If we are just sort of going, well, it's okay, and I know really that's if we aren't acknowledging the truth of the situation, the pain of the situation, the individual angst of the situation, then we can't really see the truth of the situation, because we're not seeing the truth of the individuals, we're not seeing the truth of anybody. So therefore, we're just sort of painting over it, and attempting to make it not stand out on the wall, if you will. You know, somebody spray painted the wall, and we just sort of paint over it, but we don't address it. We don't clean it up first. We don't put the right kind of paint on it. We don't, you know, it shows through when you're done.
We don't acknowledge what's there.
Yeah.
And like when I look at the world, I have to acknowledge that there's a lot of pain right now, and a lot of suffering, and a lot of things that I don't like or make me uncomfortable, or I wish were another way. And it's like I have to acknowledge what is and what is true for me before I can get to a space of acknowledging what's possible. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and love is like one of the highest frequencies there is. And it's not always easy to get there, you know?
Well, when we're in the purest vibrations of love, yes, it is. It is. And for me, the really hard part is to look at what is everybody, where are we acting from love? And, you know, how does that show up for different people who have had different experiences, what about these people that are walking in fear, who truly think that to protect their family, they must make sure that certain people are not allowed near them?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is their belief, and they're acting from a space of love for their family, even though it's a love that's convoluted and not coming from the vibration of a high vibration, inclusive love.
Yeah. Yeah, she says we have to contrast. We have a contrast to be able to feel that love, and that's the contrast.
So we as humans, we see the positive, the negative, the plus, the minus, that's sort of that, in some ways, Shay, that acknowledgement of how we think in duality. That we have to have something to compare something to be able to get the idea of where things land, because, is this a great car? Well, if you put it next to this other car, no, it's not a great car. But that's the shift in love, where we realize that both cars have value, and we can love them both, and they can both be perfectly valuable. But we tend to compare them and then go, oh. And in some ways, the same thing happens with the painful stuff. Well, it's not that bad, But when it suddenly shows up to the point where we go, we can't deny the part of this that isn't okay, then that allows us to take the steps to shift.
Yeah, and what's coming up for me too is we can't allow. What did you just say? We can't allow
the comparison.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know. You said we can't allow something, but so which brings me to forgiveness.
Mm.
And can we forgive?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a big question for these days and times.
Well, yes, what is forgiveness? And because we're, for instance, marching in the streets and saying that these actions of this group of the government is totally inappropriate and wrong and needs to be dealt with, does that mean we don't walk in forgiveness? Are we out to say we need to retaliate, or are we out to say we see a better world? We see a place where this isn't how things happen, and we invite you into it, rather than how can we push you out so that you're no longer in the way. And I think that's kind of the difference. Forgiveness is that place where we invite people in somehow into the circle. That, there's all kinds of things and nuances around that. So don't take me too literally, but you get the idea.
Yes, that's why you're the minister.
Yes, because I can say things and you can go, what?
Well, no, just, I think that's a big concept during all of this, because I don't know, I haven't even gotten there yet. It just keeps coming. So it's like, there's not even time or space to, in my opinion, to do that for me. So I think as we move towards the closure, I know we're all holding a space for shift, for change, no matter what that is, and no matter what your political opinion is. It feels like there's things that want to be changed, are being called forth. And so I just wanted to talk about, so really, again, back to holding the space. What would you say is the best way to stay in a space of holding the space? And, what is it that we can do?
Well, I think one is that idea of forgiveness. And what I mean is to not be holding some belief that somebody needs to be punished, etc. It's about holding a space for something larger to happen,
Right?
something that includes more people, that somehow includes more possibility, and having compassion for everyone in the process, and just being there to support people, listening to people, listening when people say, I'm really freaked out, this is what's going on, and just listening. Don't have to go, oh yeah, that's terrible, let's get them. Just listen, just hold their hand, just allow them to cry and feel horrible, whatever it is, and know that they're not alone.
Right.
What else would you say?
I'll add to that in a second, but I want to share Shay's. Says it's kind of hard to get to the places of forgiveness when everyone is just hanging on by a thread. Oh, I made that up. By their fingernails, fighting for their very lives. That's for later, if at all. Do we forgive the Holocaust?
And the answer has to be, with Corrie ten Boom, yes. I don't know if we forgive the Holocaust, but we forgive those involved in it. We forgive people for their choices that they made that were out of line. And I mentioned Corrie ten Boom because she had a famous book where she was talking about surviving and letting go of her anger, etc. When at one of her talks, one of the guards who had been at her facility and treated her very poorly, and her sister showed up and asked her if she knew who she was, and asked her if she had forgiven it. And that's where the rubber meets the road, folks. because can we see beyond the appearance?
Yeah. Welcome, Christopher from Detroit.
Right
nice
on.
to have you with us. Yeah, that's where the rubber meets the road, and it's really a place of, it's a deeper place.
Shay says, then we forgive ice again in time. And yes, I agree with you. And if you've seen any of the promotional material that ICE was putting out and how they're recruiting people and how they're inviting people to come on and be macho, and that it's like a video game and all of this, it's not, we have to understand that there's some level of vulnerability in the folks who are being recruited to come on board. They have their fears, their understandings of the world, and instead of addressing those realistically, people have exploited them, which only means they come on board and their misunderstanding of the world just is amplified and made, they're made to think that that's what you should do.
That's the right thing.
That's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation, and it's definitely one that takes time. I mean, if you go back in history, there's many situations we're still recovering from and working on forgiveness. I think we're navigating times of uncertainty and a lot of needs out there of people needing to feel seen and heard, and others needing not to be seen and heard and trying to cover it up with making other people seen and heard. And so I think, just to leave you with some practical ways. I mean, the thing about holding the space for love and compassion and kindness and things you want to see in the world is really about setting an intention, I think, and then really being able to anchor that and live into that. And what are you doing in that? And, it doesn't mean you have to go and march or, do anything, huge, but what can you do? What will you do? What will make you feel good? And if that's, texting or calling your congressperson and doing those kind of things, so writing envelopes and mailing things out, talking to people, joining circles of, where people talk about things going on, or whatever that is that makes you feel like you're making a difference. Like, I know people that have let go of different products or don't support Paramount TV or things like that. Does that mean that you have to cut everything out? No, you don't have to cut everything out, but cut some things out, or do whatever makes you feel connected to being the change you want to see in the world.
And I think when you say that, being a change you want to see in the world, it's the more we can anchor that space of forgiveness, of peace, of possibility within ourselves, I believe the easier and better we will be able to shine that into the world, to share that into the world. And when a protest comes along, when a conversation with an individual comes along, when whatever it is that comes along, that is the appropriate time, when we're anchored, we'll be able to step into that space and offer something that will bring about a certain amount of shift in people's understanding.
Yeah, and I just want to leave you with the thought that fear contracts and love expands.
Yes.
And we community is our spiritual technology. We gather here, we gather in mosques, we gather in temples, we gather in centers, churches, whatever it is, but use that as your spiritual technology, and remember that every act of care is really truly a vote for the world we want. And Shay talks about doing her own shadow work. Doing your own shadow work is the outpicturing of what you want to see in the world. Clearing out yourself, whether you're working on yourself, whatever you're doing, it is that act of care that and love that takes us into the next energetic of who we want to be.
What are the prejudices I'm holding? What are the misunderstandings or the beliefs I hold that may not be founded in anything real?
And we become more powerful when we remember we're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not alone. You are here with us, right here, right now, rocking the love. And so that's what we want you to take out into the world. Just remember, you're not alone. There's somebody out there. And, whether you need prayer, whether you need companionship, whatever it is, there's somebody out there that is willing to meet you there.
Yes.
So our charge to you, everybody, is to keep rocking the love out in the world. The world needs it. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Shay. Thank you, Chris. And thank you, everyone else who's been with us today.
And Chantal.
Really appreciate it. And Chantal, that's right. Love you, Chantal. Bye.